Coach is a graduate of and a native of Arizona, graduate of Arizona State, began his coaching career as a grad assistant at ASU, has been the OC at Memphis, Auburn, Florida State, and Oregon, the youngest head coach in FBS at 34 years old.
What's going on?
Coach, welcome, my brother. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
All right, now, Coach, you have a lot of people may not know this about you. You've had kind of an unconventional path on how you got into coaching. You tore your ACL your senior year of high school that ended your playing career. At 17 years old, how did you come to grips that your coaching career was about to start right then?
I was unathletic, so that was the first start. You know, my high school head coach, who's now our special teams coordinator, he's like, Kenny, you can chase this dream of trying to play, but you have a torn ACL right now, and you love the game. If you really love the game and want to make this part of your future, you got to start coaching. And I appreciate him for being honest, and it's a real reason where I am today, a real reason why and how I operate today with people. And he's our special teams coordinator now, and it's great to have a guy in your corner who will tell you the truth all the time. So that's how I knew. I was unathletic. I was an average high school player, and I knew if I wanted to stay in this game, it wasn't going to be playing it.
Coach, you can say unathletic and all that, but man, you have a bright mind. At 21 years old, offensive coordinator already. Now you bump into Mike Norvell. How did that whole thing come together?
Yeah, so I was at Arizona State. I was a junior, and I was the offensive coordinator at Chaparral High School. And they said it was open to come out to practices and come out to spring ball. So I was coming out to spring ball practices. I randomly went up to Coach Norvell one day and shook his hand and said, hey, I'd love to sit in meetings and just learn, be a fly on the wall. So 21, 22 years old, walked up to Coach, shook his hand, said I'd love to sit in meetings. He let me go there. I was there every single morning, 15 minutes early, 10 minutes early every morning, sat in the corner, didn't say a word. I would literally take what he taught me, take it right back to the high school, and install everything that I remembered. Right? It was probably about 25% of what he taught I could actually reteach because I wasn't there yet mentally, but I got better every single time I walked into that room. I learned, and I studied, and I was able to then teach that and apply that to my guys in high school. So kudos to him for letting me open up the access to let me learn and let me grow.
Now, Coach, you said a marvelous thing. You said you sat in the corner, sat on the wall, outside of the big table, and learn. Can you give some advice to some young coaches about just using that 2-to-1 ratio by listening, seeing, and more than you actually sit there and go off and talk once you've learned something?
Yeah, I mean, you can't learn by talking. And Gus Esposito told me that a long time ago, and not that name means anybody to you guys, but he said you don't learn by talking, and you learn by listening. And that's what I wanted to do. I didn't go up there because I wanted to coach college. I wanted to be a high school coach. I don't have a dad. I don't have an uncle. I don't have a sister. I don't have a cousin. I have no connection to college athletics. I have no connection to NFL. None. I thought there was a 0% chance that I'd ever be coaching college football. I literally was sitting in that room to learn to be the best high school coach I could possibly be, to potentially be a high school head coach in my alma mater one day. That was what I was sitting in there. There wasn't an alternative motive. So, I wasn't trying to work a mouthpiece. I was trying to learn. And you never know, which paths lead to where. And now I'm the head coach of my alma mater. It's just a different alma mater.
Coach, you've had a chance to work with some brilliant offensive minds, Chip Long, Mike Norvell, Coach Dickey, Gus Malzahn. What are some of the things you took from each one of them when you were building the kind of offensive coach you wanted to be?
Yeah, Chip Long, 12 personnel, tight end sets, the Bobby Petrino world, the cross dig game, home run post, free releasing the back. I think that was a lot of what Chip brought to the system when we were at Arizona State and Memphis. Daryl Dickey, a lot of two-back runs, a lot of philosophy in terms of be yourself. I learned a lot of how to just accept who you are in coaching. I think a lot of people try to mold themselves to what they feel like is what everybody wants them to be successful, or what the recruit wants them to see, or what the parent is, or what they should be. And Coach Dickey is one of the most genuine people I've ever been around. And he taught me that you got here for a reason, Kenny. Be you, and don't let anybody challenge you on that. Mike Norvell taught me just how the thought process of putting together a game plan is, in terms of where do you start? Do you start at formations? Do you start at watching a full game? Do you start at personnel? And he really taught me the thought process of, we're going to take this thing from the run game, from formations, and we're going to expand, and really how to think about that from a big picture and how to organize that. And then Gus Malzahn taught me the thought process of, you can dictate to defenses by lining up in, some crazy unbalanced stuff, some motion stuff. You don't always have to find the perfect play if you out execute. And so I felt like I got a really good, I was blessed to be around really good people that got to teach me different ways to play the game and different ways to attack. And then I could kind of take all that and put it together, when I kind of got loose and got my own wings.
Coach, real quick, you said something about both Chip Long and Coach Dickey. You talked about 12 personnel. You talked about 2-back runs. When we see a lot of young offensive coordinators now, they want to play a lot of 10. They want to do 3-by-1 and 2-by-2. They want to throw the ball around the ballpark. Is the 2-back run game also as playing in 12 and 21 personnel? Is that still a thing that you need to be able to win football games and move the ball offensively?
I think you have to be able to run the ball. I'll stand on that. I really believe that you have to be able to run the ball. I think running the ball takes pressure off of your quarterback. And at the end of the day, everything in this game is about the quarterback. How do you keep the quarterback comfortable? And I think if you can't run the ball and you always have to put pressure on him, even on his worst day, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. So I always want to be able to run the football to keep the quarterback in comfort, and to not necessarily schematically, it's just the comfort of the quarterback when you can take a snap and hand it off and take a deep breath after you may have just had a poor read. I think that is important. For us, we're going to be in a good amount of 2-back this year. It's what we ran at Memphis. A lot of what we did at Memphis when I was a coordinator there, some of the stuff we did at Florida State, and we ran 12 and 21 stuff last year at Oregon. We didn't have that personnel last year here, so that's not something we could do. But this year with our personnel, I definitely see us in more of that world.
Now, Coach, you touched on Memphis. You just kind of briefly just ran over it, but you guys were putting up the scoreboard, lighting up the scoreboard on guys. Now, you guys have so much success. Coach Norvell gets hired in Florida State. You pivot and you go to Auburn to coach offensive coordinator and the quarterback position. Now, what made you want to now go off on your own to find your success, not with Coach Norvell anymore?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a year where I could go and learn a different way to do things. I felt like Coach Norvell and I saw the game so similar that's why we worked. That he could be gone doing head coach stuff, and I could be in the office, and I could create a plan, and how he could come back in. And when we spoke, it was just so natural. I would put together, I'd say why I liked it. And he'd be like, makes sense, makes sense, or I don't like that. But we were so fluid with each other that we would finish each other's sentences that I said, you know what, I need to embark on a challenge with a different way of thinking. If I really want to be the best coach I can be, I have to learn different ways. And so I thought it was, for me, an opportunity to go, one, be a part of an SEC program and kind of see how recruiting works and how that world operates, because it's different. And then two, learn football from a different person.
Now, Coach, you coached Bo Nix as a freshman, and he won SEC Freshman of the Year. In your absence, he struggled a little bit, but then you reunite in Oregon, and you unlock his ability again, and he's a first-round draft pick now. How were you able to get Bo to play so relaxed and so comfortable?
Football's about relationships, and I know everybody wants to talk about scheme, and they think, somebody the other day was like, guru. And I'm like, I ain't no guru. I run the same plays everybody else runs. You get into empty, you run Haas wide juke. 97 teams are going to do that this year, right? It's the person. You have to understand the person you're coaching at a level that they're family. And I really think the best coaches in the country are the ones that understand what makes kids tick. Bo Nix is a perfectionist. So he wants every play to be perfect, and he's super smart. So if you make him take the field and take a snap when he knows it's not the perfect play, he's not going to be comfortable. The scheme doesn't matter. It's his comfort level. And I had to get to know Bo and learn how he thinks, learn how he processes to really say, Bo, this is how you operate, run with it. So we adapted it, not just about his skill set of being able to throw on the run or create pocket movements. It was about the mental makeup of what makes this kid comfortable when the ball is in his hands. And that's a little bit of scheme, but that's way more understanding the person. So I just pride myself in really having a relationship with guys, understanding what makes guys tick. How can I squeeze that orange and just get a little more juice than everybody else? And it's not the scheme. I wish it was. I wish I could tell you I could be the greatest scheme guy west of the Mississippi right now, but it's not true. I'm just a guy. When I am a guy who pours into the guys and builds relationships and knows, what makes them tick and just try to how to maximize themselves.
Now, Coach, you're not giving yourself enough credit, man. I'm gonna give you your flowers. You're one of the best out there in terms of developing quarterbacks and unlocking them. But there are young coaches and quarterback coaches that want to go out there and want to become a really, really good quarterback coach, just like yourself. What are a few of the things that you would say to implement in their training or just towards your overall development of young quarterbacks?
I would say understanding that you don't have a lot of time. I think one thing that's comical to me is when a young guy's like, well, how are we going to change this guy's throwing motion? I'm like, you're not. You have 15 minutes a day for 12 practices in spring because 3 of them are scrimmages. You're not. So if you put your time into things that you actually can't fix, you're just wasting your time. So I would say really focus on the things that you can train. You can train feet. You can practice off platform throws with your guys. You can train the timing and the rhythm that he should be in when he makes throws in your system. All of that stuff should be what you focus on, and let the best guys in the business that are throwing coaches take your guys. Don't be shy to give your guys and let your guys go to one of the professional throwing coaches out there and let them actually teach them how to throw, because they can be with them for an hour at a time. Don't be shy of that. But when you're with them, you need to pour your time into the things that correlate to your system and do things that you can actually get trained in the small period of time you have. And I know that's kind of like a weird answer, because you're looking for this like elite development answer of what drills do you do? But to me, you don't have enough time to fix that. You have to trust these trainers and these guys outside that if you need something fixed, that your guys are going to go to those guys and they're going to help them in those categories. And then you got to get their feet right, and you got to tie the feet to the mental part of your system.
Coach, I talk to a lot of kids across the country, and a lot of really good players are talking about Arizona State right now. What's going on down there? What are you offering those kids to come down to Arizona State? How are you selling your program to some of the top players in the country?
One, I'm brutally honest with them. I don't tell them what they want to hear. We had a big-time prospect on our campus the other day, and I said, listen, if you showed up today, you'd be like our 8th dude on our depth chart. I'm sorry. I know you got all these stars, but I'm just being real. All these people are going to tell you want to hear for the next 2 years so you get on campus. I ain't going to do that. It's just being real with people. At the end of the day, it's honesty, man. That's how. And when people step on our campus, go talk to every player on our team. Every single one of them. Ask them if they like it here. Ask them if I've ever lied to them, right? And that's it. And if you know that you're going to go to a place that there's a culture of people who truly love to be there. They're not tricked there. They're not stuck there for a certain reason. They're there because they truly want to be there. They're there because the coach is honest. The coach respects them. As much as I have to, we have guys that call me Dilly. I don't care. But when I talk, listen. And that's what it's about. It's not about me saying, call me blank. No, it's about the relationship we have. It's about the respect level that my job is to help you. Your job is not to help me. My job is to help you. I am the coach. I got into this to help people. And I think somewhere along the line, this whole college sports has flipped and it's turned into the players help the coach climb the ladder. Whereas to me, it's always been, I've climbed this ladder by saying my job is to help you and I'm going to do everything I can to pour into you. And I truly believe to the core of my heart, if it is 10 times easier to become successful through helping people than by piling bodies on each other and climbing that way. I'd much rather do the human ladder, right, and climb people to the top. And I think that's the culture. I think that there's not a secret sauce. It's come feel it and come talk to our players about what it truly is like. And if I change when you get here, because that won't happen.
Coach, man, listen, you said a mouthful and I respect it. I want to grab one of my helmets, come on out there, but I don't have any more. My eligibility's up and I got gray hairs. You don't want to be bothered with me. But listen, Arizona's always had top-notch talent. One of the problems is always keeping that talent in state. What are some of the things that you're doing to keep that talent at home?
Building relationships. I mean, anytime that in-state recruiting nowadays is so much different than it was 10 to 15 years ago because the access kids have to knowledge. 15 years ago, nobody knew what it was like to go to a school in Texas or Ohio State. You didn't have all these videos and all this knowledge. It was almost like a frightening for a kid to think, whoa, I could go here. I know nothing about these places. Now kids have so much knowledge. They're so much smarter than they've ever been because they have so much more access to knowledge that they know about everything. They could go get an inside look at almost any program other than meeting with the players on their cell phone in 3 minutes. So I would just say that's not going to happen overnight. That's going to happen because we build something and we build something and we build something that people see and they want to join. And that's what I tell people right now. I say, yeah, I'd love to sign Arizona kids, but more important than that, I want kids who want to be here. I'm an alumnus. I'm born and raised here. This is my dream job. I don't want people here who don't walk into the building and say, dang, I'm in one of the best cities at one of the best schools. And we're going to have more fun and working harder than anybody in the country, as long as I'm a good person and make good decisions, because those are our categories. I want people who want to be here and have a passion about it, not somebody that I have to say, put a smile on. I'm the opposite of that. It is, you better be a multiplier in our program. We don't have dividers here. If you're a divider, it ain't for you. If you don't wake up with a day with a purpose, ain't for you. I don't care if you're a 5-star, 4-star, it doesn't matter. I want people who enjoy this and love this crap. And that's what we attract. And I think that's the thing that I love about being here is I have a passion for it.
Coach, you talked a little bit about a recruiting blueprint right there in the last question. What is the next step that you have to take at Arizona State to be able to be that national brand where kids from all over the country realize that Arizona's a destination place?
Show progress. I think at the end of the day, you have to win. I joke around with our staff all the time, like, oh, we got a good recruiting class. Yeah, I say, sounds good, right? If you don't show progress, then it doesn't matter. So that's it. We just have to show progress every year. You just have to get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And I truly believe that nowadays, more than ever, culture matters.